I have this folder, New Pictures, with 45 different pictures, and I want to upload all of these into one of the pages on Canvas. But Canvas doesn't make it easy to batch upload multiple files onto a single page. I could upload them all at once into the Files section, but if I want to put them onto a page in Canvas, I don't know a fast way to do that for multiple files. So I'm going to find a workaround where I first convert them into a single PDF, all of these pictures onto a single PDF in Mathematica, and then I'll upload that PDF. So I've navigated to the right folder, and I've gotten the names of the different files, and then let's randomize those names so that they're in a random order. And what kind of objects are in this random names list? So let's check. So it's just a string of one of the different paths, and if I want to get it as an image, I can use the import command, and there I've converted it from a string into an image. And so now, how can I get all of those different images into a single list? Okay, let me call it images, and I'll use the second type of iterator, and I'll say give me image x for every x in random names. And this would work, but the images would show up in different sizes. So let me at the same time say, this is an image, and I want the image size to be 400. And I'll put a semicolon at the end so it imports a little faster. Okay, that already seems to have worked. So now I have a list of images. Like, let's look at the first 10. Images 1 to 10. And you can see that they're all the same width. And let me delete that. And how can I put this into a PDF? Well, maybe I could already put this list of images into a PDF, but I'm going to show you a different way that uses something called GraphicsGrid. And so GraphicsGrid, it wants to have something that's a list of lists. So let me show you a quick example. Say I have 1, 2, let's see, and that wasn't going to be a list of lists, now it is. So what does it do? It puts this on the first row, 1, 2, and it puts the second one, the second inside list onto the second row, 3, 5. So how can I convert this single list into a list of lists so that it can be a good input to GraphicsGrid? And so we want to talk about how can we reshape a list from, say, a single length 4 list into a length 2, 2 list, something like that. And before we do it with images, let me do it with numbers so it's a little easier to look at. Let me say table I for I from 1 to 20. And then let me call this my list. And let me partition this, my list, and let me partition it into groups of size 3. So that worked, but notice that it cut off the last 2 because it wanted all of these inside lists to have size exactly 3. So one way to get around that is to use the command up to. And what that is saying is all of these inside lists, they have to have size at most 3. So it'll use 3 as long as it can, and then it'll possibly allow a shorter list at the end. Okay, so now you can see that because 20 is 2 mod 3, it included this length 2 list at the very end. Okay, great. So now let's do that using the images command. And I can put this into GraphicsGrid. So let's check it. So that's good, although of course it's much too small. So let me say that I want this to have image size about 1000. And I don't have a great explanation for what number I'm choosing here. I just practiced before starting the video, and 1000 seemed to work okay. And let me name this graphics grid. Let me just call it grid. So it's doing the exact same thing, but now it's made a much wider file. Okay, great. And now let's hide that by double-clicking over here on the right. And let me delete this next one. And now let me export. And let me call it pictures.pdf of this grid. Okay, that exported. And now let's go back. So it's in the same directory I was in before. So I'm in this videos directory. And here I'm in this videos directory. And here's this pictures.pdf. And yep, that looks like it worked. I can check to make sure it's actually the correct size by going to actual size. And so there you can see that that's the default width that's going to be chosen for this PDF. Okay, now, and I didn't know that you could have a PDF with such a long height, but here I see that you can. So notice it's counting all as one page. So if you tried to print this on a printer, probably you'd have some trouble. But if you're trying to display it on a website like Canvas, then that'll work well.